So today I'm going to show you how to make this little Grinch Pot Sitter. Okay, what you'll need for this project is a picture of the Grinch, his face. I just did it on, I'll just do it on my phone. I may print something out later. You will need, I'm going to use 3-inch pots. You can use small pots, smaller than this. I have used, I think they're like a 2-inch pot. And then I have used the 4-inch pot to make these pot sitters. So you want 2 pots. And I have drilled the holes, and I suggest, I didn't have as much trouble drilling when I used my electric drill. I could not get my lady pink drill, which is battery operated. It did not want to go through. And what I did was I drilled the holes pretty much before they went through, and then I just took a nail and I just put the nail, or you can use a screwdriver, and I just took a hammer and just basically tapped that way, because the drill is going so fast with the electric drills that you might go through to the other side. So, and I also wear big heavy gloves when I do this, and I wedge it in between something so that it's like that on a wall, so that it's actually on the wall between 2 things that will hold it there. Okay, then you need green paint, and this seems to be the right color. I picked it up at Walmart, spring green, wasn't very expensive. Some yellow if you want to do the eyes in yellow, otherwise white for the eyes. You will need some string because I use beads, and you will need a Sharpie black, pencil to draw the face on, scissors to cut whatever you might need to cut, something to pour in your paint, and then a surface to cover where you're going to paint. Then what you'll need, put this out of the way so we can show these. Okay, so this is what inspired me to go ahead and do this, because I been using beads for my pot sitters on the legs and the arms, and I just really like them that way. You know, everybody has a preference. I like that. I really like the bead thing. So I got these beads on Amazon. I came across them when I was searching beads, and so I got them. I'll put the link in the description box. Okay, so our next step is to paint both of the terracotta pots green. So just take your paint. I don't know if I got enough in here or not. And you can paint the inside, or you don't have to. It's up to you if you want to paint the inside or not. I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to let it dry. Make sure that there's enough of it on there, that the coat is, you know, covering the pot. And then I'm going to draw the face. And after I draw the face, I'm going to take it out, and I am going to, I have some gloss that you use, you know, for indoor, outdoor, and it's UV and stuff that I got at Walmart a while back when I was doing my bench outside and stuff. And we will be doing, you know, putting that on in case you want to do it outside. But either way, it'll give it a little bit glossy finish. I believe this paint probably will be a little bit glossy too. If you are only going to use it inside and you just have Mod Podge, you can also use Mod Podge to go ahead and, you know, finish the pot with, to set the paint in the face. But you probably want to use something. And what I like, with my last pot that I made, I'll show you that in a minute. It's just a little sunflower girl that I made, and that was with the 4-inch pots. And that one, geez, I totally lost my train of thought. Really weird. Of course, I did just turn 74 a couple weeks ago, so that probably is what happens. Anyways, this is the little sunflower one I made, and I got those little shoes on Amazon. I believe I got these beads in one of those wreath-like bead things, And then I gave the little sunflowers, I put in their hands, so the little hands were like sunflowers. And I do like to put the little, what do they call them? Geez, lost my train of thought again. I got it right there in the mind. I'll think of it in a minute. But I decided to put sunflowers on this one. And I put them together with a little something. I did use buttons. It didn't do too well. I tried gluing them with even using E6000, and it did not work. What I was thinking was succulents. That's what I was trying to think of. But that's the last one that I made, was this one. Here, let me see if I can, there we go. A little bit farther away. These are all the little gnomes I've made. Okay, I went ahead and I did paint the inside. Had paint left, so I figured why waste it. And these will end up being put together. The ones with the holes in it are the bottom. That's where the legs will come out here and the hands here. And then this will go on top. And then you will not need little ones because we're using beads to make the hands. So what I did is I pulled down back and forth. I pulled down the face, just the face of the Grinch, so I could see to draw it on. Now, you can either draw it on using a pencil, if you're comfortable drawing, and if you do make a mistake, you can, don't throw away your paint yet or clean it out. Just leave it there, because if you make a mistake with the pencil, you can go ahead and, just paint over it. Another idea that I was thinking of, and I do have a scan and cut cutting machine, or if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, you can go ahead and cut the face out of vinyl and put it on there, and then I would go over it with Mod Podge just to make sure that the vinyl, stays on, or, with the spray paint that, like I have, which is a semi-gloss cover that you spray on. So either way is fine. So I'm going to try to draw it on, and you can do the same. So I kind of got his eyes sketched on there a little bit, if you can see it. I had done the mouth, but I had to paint over it because I got it too far up. I was using this, but I couldn't see where to stop, so I went too far and had it clear up way too far up in order to do, because I'm doing this mouth. Hold on. This mouth. That just seems like the easiest one to do. So I'm just going to take, this is a top to one of those little things like this, and you can buy these at Walmart, and I think I got these at Dollar General. And they're just little tiny things where you can put like mayonnaise and stuff to take with you, condiments to take with you to work. So I can see through this one, so I'm going to kind of measure it, and there's that little thing at the bottom, and I do want to put that there, so I'm going to put it up high. There isn't a lot to work with on this smaller one. I kind of wished I had stuck with the 4-inch, but I had so much trouble with the 4-inch trying to get inside, because my hand didn't quite want to fit in it because it wasn't wide enough, but it was too far down. So I tried 3-inch. I may get 4-inch too, but I would probably just buy those at Walmart instead of getting a whole package of them. Okay, so it looks like it stops and then it comes out. So I'm going to mark here and here across. And then I'm just going to kind of follow that line. I think I'm going to use the harder part now that I can see. No, it's not going to work. Let's see if I can get it with the pot now, if I know where to stop. There. That's a little better, because the pot did make a nice, perfect almost circle. My little pot. And I'm keep losing it. I do have a seeing problem. There doesn't seem to be enough light in here right now. Okay. try this again. Just real lightly. And remember, even if you mess up several times, you still got paint, so you can paint over it. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, so that one looks a little better, if you can see the penciling. And then you can see the little lines on the outside and stuff. I'm going to add, I'm just going to kind of rough this later and go around it and do any of the rough parts afterwards. And I'm going to paint the yellow first and then go around it with the black. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this, goes on. Okay, it looks like this goes into the eye, so I don't have a lot of room, so I'm just going to make a square. Sorry about that. Had an Etsy package that needed to go out, and the mailman just came. And I caught him easy thanks to my dog. Okay, so it just kind of, it looks like it's going in more. So I'm just going to do a little bit in more. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and, I did grab some markers, so I'm going to try to, before I try to paint the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and try it with a yellow marker and see if that will work. It's just easy. I also have highlighters here. I don't know if that would be any better or not. I may have to paint this because it's not a very, with the green in there, it's not so bright a yellow. And his eyes, I kind of wanted them to light up, look like they're lit up. So I may just go ahead and have to find a little tiny paintbrush. Yeah, I think I will do the tiny paintbrush. Maybe let me try a highlighter quick, see if that's any better. Yeah, still with the green under it, it's just not going to work. I can draw a lot better with markers than I can with a paintbrush. So I'll get back to you after I paint the eyes. Okay, so I did the eyes with the yellow paint, and they do stand out a lot more. So next is to take your black marker and go around the eyes using the picture. So just Google a picture and pick whichever one you like. I'm not going to do a link to it because you may like a different face on it. So I will get back to you after I finish this part. So I got the face on. It's all right. It's not my best, but there isn't a lot of room there either. But I just kind of used the marker at the end and just kind of dotted it so it made it look fuzzy on the top. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are artists and can do a lot better. So I've decided I'm not going to do this outside, so I'm not going to spray it with the semi-gloss. I'm just going to go ahead and use the Mod Podge. So I'm going to go ahead and hopefully Mod Podge, if I can get the thing open. So it's really weird. It dried up on top, but it's still wet at the bottom. But it's even the sides are all dried up. That's weird. I've never had Mod Podge do that before with the lid on it. So I cleaned that out. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm not going to pour it into something else. I'm just going to go ahead and dip into the liquid part that is liquid. And of course I'm dripping it everywhere. And I'm just going to start by kind of patting it on there. Almost feels like, I guess not. It felt like the brush part was falling off. I just don't want to smear anything, so I'm going to do this really lightly. It shouldn't smear because it is a permanent marker, but one never knows. Yeah, it looks like it won't smear, so. And remember, Mod Podge dries clear, so. I actually think Mod Podge is just glue that costs more money, like your Elmer's glue and stuff, because that dries pretty clear too. So So just go ahead and get the Mod Podge. I'm not going to have you sit here and have to watch. Okay, so I have done the Mod Podge inside and out. And I did the bottom too, just to make it smoother and see if maybe the E6000 will work on it. Yeah, E6000 is what it's called. So I got a couple of buttons. This is a 4-hole and I have a 2-hole, which I'm going to use to put these together. But before I do that, I like to take a couple smaller buttons, and actually I should, and there was twine, or jute, I guess you call it, inside of the beads, and this seems to be more smooth than the other I have. It's still, but the other one that I have seems to have like burned ends and stuff like that are very rough, so it's harder to use them. And then I was going to show you, so these are some of the beads. These seem to be the primary, and this has the Grinch's face on it. Let me see if I can get it this way. So this has the Grinch's face on it, and this one is just the red and white classic Seuss. And then there's just some white beads and some smaller red beads, and we'll be mixing those together. You can put those on any way you want. If you want to save a lot of the, you can just use like one if you want. And then the other thing that I didn't, and I will probably go ahead and make a little video at the beginning just to show, I did find these, and I believe it must have been Dollar Tree, because I've only been to Walmart and Dollar Tree. And I did find these, so I am going to try to use these little elf feet for the Grinch's feet. I also have some Santa boots, but I just think these are cuter. So there's red and there was green. But I believe he had red, so I will see how I can do these over. These, I bought them originally for a gnome, but I have a couple. I think I bought 4 altogether, so I have more. So we'll see when we get there how we can put these, because what I did with the other ones is I actually put it over a bead, but I didn't use my good beads. I used some older just wood beads that I had. So let's go ahead. So the smaller, as flat as you can get them, it's better if you have the flatter beads. Let me get some smaller beads, because we're going to go ahead and thread through the arms and legs, so we have the string out, but we're not going to do the beads yet. We'll put these together before we do the beads. It's easier than trying to put them together with the beads hanging. So let me see if I can find some flat beads. Okay, so I did find a couple beads. I even found a broken one, so I'll just use that because it's going on the inside. So go ahead and string through 2 buttons, 2 holes, I mean. And you want to leave a lot, because the beads will take up. So I would say, let's go ahead and pull it through, going up here. And I do have, when I do beads, I do have these plastic needles, but this is the smaller hole. Some of them have almost a egg-shaped one that's that blurts out, and that is very hard to, it doesn't go through the bead. It's too wide. So I am going to put this through, and let me see how much I did here. Oops, this is backwards for me. Okay, so I did 30 inches, so it's 15 inches this way, and I'd rather waste a little bit than have too little when you start to do your beads. So I would do it at least that long, arms and legs, even though the legs will be longer. It's better just to have more than less. In fact, I think I may just do maybe 30 on on the arms, and then 32" on the legs. Okay, so with the smaller ones that you're putting, the smaller buttons that you're going to be using in the arms and legs, it is a little bit hard to get through because it wants to fray as you do the ends. So I did grab my needle threader, and when you do the buttons, you want to make sure that you do the opposite ends. You don't want to put one here and one here. You only have two. So okay, so we're putting these through, and we're going to put it through here. So when you do it with the buttonhole, we're doing it opposite, and then we want to put this through the hole. You have to come down here where I can see. You can't try to string it through the hole, but it does tend to want to fray. Okay, did not get that through. Okay, that one is, I think, through. Yes, I got that one through. Okay, so when you pull it through, you want to hold on to the wire that's attached to the needle threader, especially when you do anything thicker like this. Otherwise, you're going to pull the wire right off. So even out your ends like that. So you want opposite ends. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, that's legs. Okay, the legs are at the bottom. That's where the rim is. So we want to put the longer piece at the bottom. Okay, so I strung the legs through the hole like this, and there's the buttons inside. That'll hold that in there. And then I will show you here on the arms. So just try to get both of them together. And I think my armholes, I had a lot of trouble with the legs, so I think the armholes are a little bit larger. This one may be a little bit smaller, plus this is, I'm going to just cut a little bit. It's real frayed at the end. If it's really, really frayed, and don't lick it like I did because it comes off in your mouth. Okay, so one went through, and then it's harder to get the other one if only one gets through. So this is probably the most annoying part of doing the whole thing, is trying to get those through the holes. Okay, and then I just tied off the ends. And you can also, what you can also do is you can put another button there if you want. Or you can put a little bead there if you want and tie it off. Let me see how that little bead works. So you would just put the bead through one end. Like that, and then tie that off. And then the rest of your beads would just come on. So you can do that if you want. Or you can find another button and put it through. Those are all the bigger buttons. I guess those are the big buttons in there. should really see if I really don't want black buttons on. I have a few green buttons, but they're pretty small. All the green buttons are really small. I don't think I can get anything through. The buttons are actually better because you can, because they have the two holes. I don't think it's going to go through this small hole. These are really tiny. Like it's just gonna fray it up. Yeah, it's too small. So unless you have some bigger green buttons, you just have to use either white. I do have white ones. At least the white would match in with the beads. The black doesn't really match in at all. So that's why they're in the hidden place. So I strung them on there. It's pretty easy if you use the needle threader. I'd get a lot of needle threaders though. They're really cheap. These these kind of needle threaders are real cheap. I think you can get a bunch of them on Amazon, probably at Walmart. I should probably look because I have kind of ruined a couple of. And then just tie a double knot. And I ended up finding some white buttons that worked. Just make sure they're matching. For the inside, you don't need to make sure they're matching, but for the outside, you would want them to match. So, and then finish up the legs. Also, I found if you go ahead and bend so that you don't have the fraying edge, and you put it through the needle threader, it works better. So here's the last one. So I have the needle threader through. Hopefully you can see that. And when you bend it, so you get a nice edge on it. Excuse me. I just have a lot of trouble. I wish they'd make them like red or something so I could see easier. And throw it through. And like I said, make sure you hold on to the wire and it just comes right through. Even out your edges again. Make sure everything's even at the end. Put your button up there and you want the flat side of the button to the pot. And then just tie it off. Double knot. Okay, now these buttons, oops, I think I threw my buttons in there. Now I gotta go dig them out again. That was dumb. Yeah, I just grab a couple here. That one's not quite so big. There's two that kind of match. Okay, now we're going to put our pot together. Not sure what this is, like hanging off the middle. I'll just go here. Okay, to do the pot, you still want to do a double. So the pot, of course, it doesn't have to be as long because we're just tying that off. So kind of measure the pot put the pots together and kind of measure it. Hope you can see that. Let me go forward a little bit here. And then just a little bit extra. So I've got about 12 inches, so I want to double that. So just to be safe, I'm going to do 26 inches. Okay, and then thread that through your, this should be easier. You shouldn't probably have to have the needle threader for this, hopefully. No, it's still fraying. So maybe try, if your holes are big enough, you can just bend it over like did the other one. Like when we did the needle threader. And it should go through, hopefully. Yep. Nope, it's fraying still. So we will just do the needle threader. Lost my piece that I was using for this. It's getting all entangled here. I have to cut that off because it's a mess. That's why I gave myself some extra just in case. So right through there. Don't forget to hold your wire. And through it, and then through the other hole. And again, you want the flat side. And I just did it the wrong way. So you want the flat side down inside rather than the, all these buttons don't seem to be flat, they all have a ridge. So you want the flat side down, and I just did that backwards. So by doing, you want to put it through the ridged edge. Yeah, that's not going to go, it's just not going to go through without the threader. So just take those through. There we go. Okay, and then once you get it threaded, definitely going to get some needle threaders with a different colored wire on them. I think they have those at Walmart or at on Amazon. Okay, get that, and then even out your ends again. Okay, and then I am going to put a little bit of E6000 around the rim, just here and there. Hopefully that'll hold a little bit. And I use these little tubes always because I cannot, it dries out so quick and I can't, I don't know, I just can't use the big tubes. They just don't work for me. Okay, so now we are going to take our button, and we want to take these and put it through the hole of the top one, which is the face, and the rim will face up. Now those should fit through. It's just your hands again trying to get it in there. Okay, so I got it both in there, and then you want to get your button flat, and then we're going to put it through this, the other hole. I got a little, there's a little something in there. I think it's a little bit of the Mod Podge, so I'm just going to make that hole the way it's supposed to be, and then just stick the string through that hole. And get that with your hand, both ends. There we go. Okay, and then adjust so that you have it in the middle of the hand. So you have your mouth in the middle of your hands. Just back a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to turn this around to make sure I got right, and then make sure you've got it centered on there. Try to get that as close as you can. Okay, then turn that upside down carefully. You don't want to move it. and string your other button on. And again, the flat side, so you're going to want to come through the flat side with this one. Which means you put your, let's see, so you want to go through the rim to bring it through that way. Unwind them here. And bend your end over. Looky here, I got a thin piece here. And then again through the rim, and remember, opposite ends, so it's like a crisscross. I think I just lost it. No, it's on there. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, so okay, and then when you get it on there, then try to get it down. It's hard to do because it's still, I thought it would be, because the 3 inches were shorter, I thought that it would work better than the 4 inch, because I had a lot of trouble getting into the 4 inch. So we're wanting to put the flat end down, and then we're again going to tie a knot. So get your fingers down in there as much as you can. You want to try to get that really tight in there to hold those two together. So pull really tight. And double knot it. If you have somebody around that you can use, you can have them hold their finger there for a minute to keep that nice and tight. And then turn your Grinch. Okay, so now you have that. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as his hair, but we shall see. Okay, now I would suggest starting with the legs, because the arms, if you put the arms on first, you're just going to have them in the way. So just lightly knot and put that away inside, so it's out of your way. Okay, now next you can decide how long you want your legs first, and remember, if we're gonna put these on, I hate to just cut these if I don't know if they're going to work, and they are stuffed, but I guess I could use a little bit of this up here. It would be kind of cute. I don't know why they have the seam in the front. It's like a twisted seam. So I'll have to think on that. So now we're going to put these through both. I'm going to cut the frayed ends a little bit. Push them together so that they're, and then cut all 4 ends the same. Okay, now you can try to string them through. I think I'm going to start with one red one here. Got this going to pour some out. So I would suggest you have a dish or something to pour your beads out in. I just poured them in the top of my button box. As long as I've got that right here. And I'm going to start with a white bead. And see if it goes through without the needle. I know this was much harder for the kids to get these beads on here than I thought it would be. You might want to look for other like red beads and stuff that are, if you want them the same size, because I don't have any. I thought I did. I've got a bunch of beads, but none of them are red or green, so I guess I'm just going to go with what I got. So I guess maybe a Grinch one, and I'm going to put the Grinch so his face is facing down. Actually, I think I'll put a smaller bead. Hopefully the holes are the same size. And then I have this little thing. I don't know if this will work or not. These are for your cutting machines, but they have all this stuff at Dollar Tree now. That's not working really. I think the smaller beads have a smaller hole, it looks like. Let me try it with the needle. Yeah, it works if you use your needle nose. Oh, did I get the Grinch the right way? Nope. There he goes. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I have a Grinch and he's got his so just continue down until, and if you're working hopefully on a surface where you can have him sitting, and just decide how long you want it to be. Okay, so I had to play with this a little bit to figure out just exactly how I wanted to get it on there. So here's the first leg, and I ended up using 2 Grinch beads, and then 3 of the red and white, and then the other ones in between. And so that measures to the bottom of the beads, measures about 5, or let's go here, 6, just right around 6 inches. And then what I did with these is I cut these down, and I didn't cut the top. I didn't really cut the top off. I did cut them about here. And then I just worked it if they're, like one of them hardly had any stuffing in and the other one had a bunch of stuffing in. So I took some of the stuffing out until I had a nice hole in here, and I put it down so that there was like 2 red ones on there. And then you can either use glue, get your glue gun ready if you're a good gluer. I'm much better at sewing than I am gluing, so I have red thread on there to sew that on. So next what I did, I actually had some beads. I found some more white beads that I had gotten at Dollar Tree. So I grabbed those out and I put that last bead there. Now what I did is tied this off 1, 2, 3 times. Then I just put one through the needle, one side of the whatever it's called, your string, and then go ahead and string on just one side. And I have a wooden bead. I have no idea what size it is, so what you're after is a bead, and you don't want to really waste your expensive beads. This was a bead that was on one of those wreaths. I think I got a Dollar General for like $1. And just make sure that the bead fits inside of the hole that you have here in your foot or your shoe. So then I went ahead and I tied this off, but I didn't tie it real tight because I wanted a little bit of wiggle room in there to glue or sew it on. So I tied that 3 times. And then I took my needle and I went back through. And I tied that off. And then I went back through again. Until I just had a little bit. I just used up the jute string. Okay, then I took my foot or shoe and I put it over the bead, and it wasn't the easiest thing in the world. And this stuff is creepy on your hands too. So I put that over there, and I took my needle. I went inside to tie it off, and the needle does go right through if you don't knot it. What I mean is you knot it and then you go through again. Hope you can see this. Sorry it takes me so long, but it's real hard for me to see that small stuff. Okay, and then I just went around it like a gathering stitch. And I kind of pulled it as I was going around. So that you want to cover up that bead. And once I got to the back again where I started, I pulled that tight, and then I just started kind of sewing it together, where I just kind of back and forth, just like this, just so it covers the bead. You can go through the jute with the needle too. If you're going to glue it, then get a bunch of glue in there and just kind of gather it up in there with the glue. And you might as well just use up your thread. And then just tie that off. I still can't figure out why they put the seam down the front of the ornament instead of down the back. And cut that. And set that aside, because you're either going to need your glue gun or your thread to do the arms, because we're going to have to put the like the furry stuff. I wish I actually may have some furry stuff here that I can use. Okay, so there's his little feet. And I wish these were a little bit smaller, but they are what they are. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and then start on his arms. So the arms are worked exactly the same way. So whatever pattern you want to use until you get to the end. I'm just going to leave it like that, and then start on his arms. So the arms are worked exactly the same way. So whatever pattern you want to use until you get to the end. I did try to cut this. If you do felt, you would need it bigger. And then what I was going to do was, actually you don't, if you use a smaller bead, because this would be doubled. So what you would do is go ahead and cut another piece, but leave the fingers off that one, because you don't want to have to sew or glue, or glue. You could, I guess with the glue, you could cut it the same and put it together, but you would just want to glue this part right around here, so that you have an opening to put around the bead, and then you just glue it around the bead if you're a gluer. And if you're a sewer, then you would just sew it up and around. And the reason I said if you're sewing, I would only do this one is so if you want to, you can do an outside seam on it, or you can do a if you wanted to turn it, then you would do that, and you would have to leave the opening on the top here so that the fingers would come out when you turned it, and then you would just have to sew this up. I also, before we get to what I did with the arms, I did find some fur, and I will probably, so you'll see it once I do the video at the end of the finished product. I am going to, and you can either glue or sew, but I have this, it's the yarn from, well, I think my daughter got it at Walmart when they were selling it out, but it's, you can get it at Hobby Lobby. So it's just fur yarn, just furry yarn. And I'm just gonna wrap it around the top like that, so something like that, and then I'll sew it on. I do have my thread to sew that on, so I will do that, but I will do that off camera. So that's that, because this video is it's already 52, and we want to finish our hands. So basically what I did was I tied it off just like I did the last one. Lost my needle here somewhere here. And then again, you just want to put one, and you probably could have just put that through, and then just pull this through. Okay, then and then just tie a couple of times. And you can go back through if you want. I'm not going to, I didn't on the other one. So just tie it off, and then, you can leave a little in because it's going to be covered up. So then what I did is I just went ahead and again made a gathering stitch. So make sure again that you tie off your thread. So start by going through, make your knot at the end of the thread, and then go through a piece of the thread, and like this. Otherwise it tends to come right through, because this is a woven fabric that has little holes in it, and the thread just comes right through it. So then I just went ahead, I'm here, and I did the gathering stitch. Maybe 1/8 of an inch or something like that. Make sure you get pretty much to the end. My fingers don't work very well, that's why I keep this there. Okay, and then we're just gonna put this over. I'll try to keep this out of the way. I noticed in some of the video I kind of had the pots in the way. So we're just going to push that over, and then we're going to go ahead and go into the other side. Don't poke yourself. And wrap that around. Wrap that around the bead nice and tight, so that gathers around, and then the bead is what is going to help hold it on. And then I just went down the sides. Gotta find that beginning there. Here we go. And then I just sewed it together. At the sides like that. You know, the fur kind of covers it up, your stitches, so you don't have to be too, it's better to get it towards the edge, but that doesn't always happen. It's hard to see around the fur, and especially when I'm doing a video, I don't want to keep this video forever, so, but you can go in here and just get the fur, the backing of the fur if you want. And then put your thread around so it's not grabbing onto the fur. And because the fur covers up, you don't have to worry about everything being perfectly even. And so I'm just going to take this last little bit here. And then just, you can go ahead and just tie that off, and you can hide your everything in the fur. And I always tie by going back through the center of the two threads on your needle. And then I have the brush here. And if you just brush it down, it'll cover all that thread. And so here he is like this. I will record him all done. Okay, now, like I said, if you want to do a succulent on top. Now the other thing you can do too, if you want to make him look more and put his, you know, if you're really a good painter, you can put his little Santa suit and paint that on. But you do all that before the beads if you decide to do that. Before you put any of the beads or any of the buttons or anything on. Paint the bottom, if that's what you want to do. Now the other thing here is, if you get like the styrofoam balls, they do fit in this 3-inch pot like that. So if you wanted to put something in there, like a couple of, I actually have a little one here. I mean, these are way too small, but if you can find one that is, then you can put this in there and it would cover, if it covered the whole thing, and then just push it into the foam. So for some reason, the other video turned out really tiny, and I think it's because I added stuff to it, so it looks okay, and I'm going to try to repost it. But anyways, I just wanted to finish up and show you what I did end up doing. I did find a plant, and it came in this thing, and this is weighted down, but it didn't fit into the 3-inch pot. It probably would into a 4-inch pot. So I did put that piece of styrofoam, which is kind of stuck down there now, so it would be hard to get it out. And then I just added these little presents that I got, and it looks like I got the present. I think it's maybe Hobby Lobby, My Little Christmas, if I remember right, that I got him there. And so that I don't know if I got the gifts there or if I got these at Walmart. I'm not sure, the Christmas ones, because I have them in a plastic bag now. So that's how I finished him up. I'm not going to add the videos that I did, but the short is on there so you can see what he looks like. And so here he is in all his glory. His little feet and his little hands and his little plant frizzled up hair. And so I'm just going to push this in here and finish it up. So I thank you guys for watching and being patient. I'm sorry about the first video. I will get this one up, and meanwhile you can watch that other one, I guess. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here soon. Keep safe. So for some reason, the other video turned out really tiny, and I think it's because I added stuff to it, so it looks okay, and I'm going to try to repost it. But anyways, I just wanted to finish up and show you what I did end up doing. I did find a plant, and it came in this thing, and this is weighted down, but it didn't fit into the 3-inch pot. It probably would into a 4-inch pot. So I did put that piece of styrofoam, which is kind of stuck down there now, so it would be hard to get it out. And then I just added these little presents that I got, and it looks like I got the present. I think it's maybe Hobby Lobby, My Little Christmas, if I remember right, that I got them there. And so that I don't know if I got the gifts there or if I got these at Walmart. I'm not sure, the Christmas ones, because I have them in a plastic bag now. So that's how I finished him up. I'm not going to add the videos that I did, but the short is on there so you can see what he looks like. And so here he is in all his glory. His little feet and his little hands and his little plant frizzled up hair. And so I'm just going to push this in here and finish it up. So I thank you guys for watching and being patient. I'm sorry about the first video. I will get this one up, and meanwhile you can watch that other one, I guess. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here soon. Keep safe.